Hare Krishna, everyone. Thank you for joining. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram. Mukam karoti vachalam pangam langayate giri. Yat kripa tamham vande Shri Gurun Dinatari. Thank you for joining. So we started the journey of Bhagavad Gita since last session. So we'll just quickly recap and then continue the theme. So we started with I lost my pen. One second. Sorry. So we are studying Bhagavad Gita chapter 1. So let's go through. Can we start the session now? Okay. Yeah. So what are the ways in which Bhagavad Gita is seen primarily? Bhagavad Gita, for example, I said a few themes in which Bhagavad Gita is seen primarily, right? Are it is seen as primarily as a book of yoga, right? Because Bhagavad Gita teaches all various types of yoga, how to perform various, yogas. It is seen as a religious text, religious and spiritual text. Correct? And what else? We discussed a few other. It is seen as an ethical book that teaches ethics, basic ethics. It is also seen as a book that is the climax of Mahabharata. So this is the most important section of entire Mahabharata. Mahabharata is 18 parvas. So it's the Mahabharata's climax. It is also seen as a book that is that establishes the validity of a philosophy, philosophical validation. So it's an authoritative book that is seen as, suppose somebody proposes a philosophy, they will want to ensure that aligns with the teachings of Bhagavad Gita. So it's a philosophy that stands as authority for other, you know, religious methods, right? So these are the various ways Bhagavad Gita is seen. So we'll see, primarily as a book of yoga, we'll learn as we progress. We'll also see partly how it teaches ethics. Yeah. So this is the way. This is the ways in which Bhagavad Gita is seen, and then we discussed how do we approach Bhagavad Gita? Various ways in which Bhagavad Gita is approached. Approaches. So I suggested everybody should have a notepad so they can note down key points. So if not today, next week you should try to get it. It's seen as a book. I gave the formula LEAD, lead. Sometimes people see it literally, the book of the climax of entire Mahabharata. So that is literal view of take lessons as you see it literally. And then lead, right? Yeah. Yeah. So ethics, sorry. Book of ethics, especially in the chapter 1, we see how it is the book of ethics, and also partly in the chapter 2. And allegorically, people derive lessons beyond the immediate story. So that is another way. And then as a book of devotion, right? So these are the various approaches in which Bhagavad Gita is seen. Overall, Bhagavad Gita has 18 chapters. Many are titled as yoga chapters, and it has 700 texts. And the flow is, the first chapter teaches the situation in which the whole Bhagavad Gita is taught. So the army is assembled in a place, right? Chapter 1. So so it's focused on situation as it exists in the battlefield, and there is consideration of dharma and what Arjuna becomes indecisive about whether to fight or not. So there is a whether to fight or not, dharma. So that is discussed in chapter 2, chapter 1 and chapter 2. So it's more like dharma means ethics. So the flow is situational to ethical to actually philosophical. So chapter 2, verse 8 onwards until 18th chapter. The focus is on, so the question is, what is right? He was in a dilemma. Arjuna is in a dilemma, and he wasn't sure what is my dharma or what is right. What should I do in this situation? So that was the dilemma in which Arjuna was. And then to know what is right or what is dharma, what I should do, you should know what is the reality of life. Right? When you have clarity on what is the reality in existence, then you become more clear on what you can do as part of your work. So the focus becomes what is real. So the whole philosophy of Bhagavad Gita teaches what is the reality of life. Right? So this is the transition of the flow of Bhagavad Gita. Chapter 1 just focuses on situation. So just to get the context here, so there are two parties, warring parties, Pandavas and Kauravas. These are 5 brothers. There were 100 brothers. So the war is between them. And when it occurred about 5,000 years ago. 5,000 years ago. And where it occurred? What is the place? Kurukshetra. Yeah. Kurukshetra. And what is the whole dialogue is actually dialogue between Arjuna and Krishna directly, but it is actually in the narrative lens of Sanjaya and Dhritarashtra. So this is the narrative lens. Means how it is spoken. Okay? So this is the overall overview of entire Bhagavad Gita here, right? Now coming to chapter 1. So we just went over the entire Bhagavad Gita in summary. Chapter 1 has 46 verses. 1 to 24 is going to speak about the situation of the war. Situation of the war means how all the people have assembled and they all blow their conches, right? And they all and Duryodhana from the Kauravas speaks about the strength of armies of his side as well as the opposite side. And then after that, Arjuna asks Krishna, who is his chariot driver, to take the chariot in between the two armies. Right? So the two armies are assembled. Arjuna asks Lord Krishna to bring the chariot in between the two armies. So after 24th verse, from 25 till 46, so this is called observing the armies, right? So the situation, what happens here is observing armies. So the armies were observed by everybody. Both Kauravas observed Pandavas and Pandavas observed Kauravas. 25 to 46 is called Lamentation of Arjuna. This section is called Lamentation of Arjuna. Why is it called Lamentation of Arjuna? So there was a plan for Arjuna to come and fight, right? But looking at his relatives assembled on both sides to fight and win this war, so he was confused about why am I here? So he was totally confused. So that's what this section is called. So he will give he'll lose his purpose. Why am I here? Am I here to just win win my kingdom? Is that the purpose? So his purpose is baffled, confused. If it is just for winning the war and taking over the kingdom, that doesn't look appealing to him at this time. Should I have to kill my relatives for the sake of kingdom? It doesn't seem to really appeal to him at the time. Okay? So he loses purpose. So many times we have plans and basically we have some good intentions on what to achieve. But then the situations can change our plans, because the reality of life is like that. You came with a plan, you have a certain intention to perform certain thing, but then the reality of life is going to alter your plans because it's very different than what you expected. Many times you have, then what to do, right? If you just stick to your intentions and not care about what the situation is, you may become very cold and inflexible, right? So this only intention, no care for situation, you become cold and inflexible, right? On the other hand, if you just focus on situation and don't care for your plan and intention, right, you become very fickle. Because you'll never achieve anything. If you always become overcome by situation, then what you have to do is to raise above, right? You have to understand. So you have certain plan, but the focus should be, you have a plan, the focus should become on purpose. Why am I here? The focus, the purpose is very clear. So Arjuna came there with the intention to fight. So the same way with everybody else. But then suddenly the situation was so daunting. I mean, not daunting. For him, it wasn't clear. Am I here to kill my relatives? So he was unclear what is right at this time. What is my dharma? What is right here? So by the end of chapter 1, by the end of 46th verse, he was baffled and confused. So he would put his Gandiva bow down and says, I'm not going to fight this war because I don't know what is right, right? So he was baffled. And so the good thing is he has a good counsel, Krishna. So this continues, the theme continues to till chapter 2nd, verse 7, where he clearly asks, Krishna, I'm unable to decide. You decide for me. Now I accept you as my teacher. Please guide on the next steps. Right? So this is a very famous verse, Karpanya dosha pahata svabhava. So we'll go through that. So this is the turning point for Bhagavad Gita. So until then, Krishna is seen as just a relative or a friend by Arjuna. But this is the moment of change when the situation changes as that now he sees Krishna as his teacher. So why? Because he wants to make his purpose clear, right? So many times we may have certain plans. And when we are confused by situation, what we should do, we should focus not on the plan, instead on the purpose. Now, when you become more focused on purpose, then things will become a lot more clear. So in this case, he was unclear as to why I should fight. And then he turned to Krishna, and then Krishna will take forward the lessons, and then he becomes clear what is the purpose. So there is the two concepts. The third important concept we discussed also last week is misconceptions, right? A lot of people speak about this with you, if not me, right? So we be better be equipped. One is people call Arjuna what? Coward. They say, hey, he's a coward. He got a nervous breakdown. When he saw all his relatives, he just didn't want to fight. But actually, he was not a coward. He was not fearful of his life. Not for his life. He was not fearful for his life. He was fearful of doing wrong action. He didn't want to do wrong action. He wanted to do the right thing, right? So because in the whole conversation, you will never see him, worried about his life. He will give various reasons why he shouldn't fight, right? Yeah, I'm killing my relatives. How can I enjoy the kingdom after killing my relatives on the blood of my relatives? So questions are all like that. And how can I enjoy a flourishing kingdom when all my relatives are dead? So questions are always like that. And when all these people are dead, the women become widows, and who will take care of them? So he was always concerned about others. It's not about himself. So he is not a coward. That's a wrong understanding, right? So this is a misconception. Second thing, a lot of people say that Krishna is a warmonger. This is another bad misconception. Krishna is not a warmonger. If Krishna is a warmonger, he could have easily finished Bhagavad Gita in the first chapter. How he can, If suppose there are three people, right? A, B, C. And if I want to instigate B to fight against C, I want to instigate B to fight against C. What should I do? I should badmouth, about C to B, right? This is the easiest way to instigate B to fight C. Did Krishna, if Krishna wanted to inspire Arjuna to fight, he could have reminded, and it's all known to Arjuna what has happened to him. This Duryodhana, who was there right opposite to him, he is the one who tried to kill his brother Bhima when he was a young boy through poisoning cake. Secondly, they tried to kill all the Pandavas in a lake house, right? They wanted to just destroy them completely, aggressor. So these are the kind of people you are assembled to fight here. Thirdly, these are the three reasons, nobody could have denied. Thirdly, Krishna could have said, these Kauravas tried to disrobe your wife. Do you remember, Arjuna, the cries of your wife and your inability to defend them at the time of this disrobing of Draupadi? Now is your chance, go fight. Krishna could have said that, but he didn't say that. He didn't show any situational or circumstantial evidence to inspire Arjuna to fight. Instead, he talked about principles of life, higher principles, universal principles throughout Bhagavad Gita. So he would not mention any of the situations even once in the entire Bhagavad Gita conversation. He will only focus on, so he never focused on, Krishna focused completely not on circumstantial evidence or situations. He focused on universal principles, right? So there is no way anybody can claim Krishna is a warmonger. That's complete misunderstanding. Yeah. So this is where we stopped. Yeah. So yeah, I think the rest is all more like life lessons on what we already discussed. So we already discussed we should not just hold on to our plans, focus on purpose. Purpose is more important. Yeah. Yeah. So there is a good example for here, right? So sometimes even purpose, we have to focus on purpose. But for example, in case of Arjuna, the purpose is to win the war, or to win the kingdom. That was the purpose when they started. The plan is to go and fight. Plan is fight. Purpose is kingdom. But what happened to Arjuna when his purpose is just kingdom? He became indecisive. That is not inspiring enough for him to fight. So we have to find a deeper purpose in life. So that's what this teaches. When the purpose is not sufficient, we need to find a higher purpose, right? We need to go higher in our purpose. For example, when a baby bird is born, this is a baby bird. It just got its life, right? It is, it is still in its shell. When it is still in its shell, the shell becomes the protective for the shell, for the baby bird. Otherwise, simply natural elements itself would destroy it. There is no, there is no way it can safeguard its life. But as the baby bird grows and it grows its wings, the shell becomes an obstacle for it to grow further, to experience the nature of the world. So it has to break through the shall. While the shall has become the purpose in the beginning to safeguard its life, the same very shall becomes the obstacle for it to grow further, right? So sometimes we have to rethink about what the purpose of our life is, right? So in this case, Arjuna's purpose required to be a little deeper to understand, what is right. So that's where so he kind of loses you know, he like he had this identity crisis. Who am I? Why am I here? Kind of a situation. So he was unclear what the right action for him. So the second chapter is a very interesting one. It will focus more on the identity part. Who am I? So we'll discuss in depth next week. So for now, what we'll do, we'll go over the chapter verses. So now we understood the entire theme of Bhagavad Gita. So let's read through verses. Each of you can. There is the mic. There's one more mic, right? No? Oh, yeah, it should be there. So let's read through the verses. If so, this is the Bhagavad Gita, first chapter 1. Should we read English text or Sanskrit text, or it might take long time? What is the time? So I think we can read. Are you all comfortable reading the Sanskrit verse together? Or? Yeah. Yeah. Then, yeah. So maybe you can read through it. Dhritarashtra Uvacha Dharmakshetre Kurukshetre Samaveta Yuyutsava Mamaka Pandavaschaiva Kimukarvata Sanjaya. Yeah, please read. Each one can read one.
Translation: Dhritarashtra said to Sanjaya, after my sons and the sons of Pandu assembled in the place of pilgrimage at Kurukshetra, desiring to fight war with them.
Sanjaya Uvacha Drishtva tu Pandavanikam Yodham Duryodhanastada Acharyam Upasangabhya Raja Vachanam Abravit.
Sanjaya said, O king, after looking over the army arranged in military formation by the sons of Pandu, King Duryodhana went to his teacher and spoke the following words.
Pasyaitam Panduputrana Acharya Mahatim Chamum Yodham Drupada Putrena Tapashishena Dhimata. Yeah, please read.
O my teacher, behold the great army of the sons of Pandu, so expertly arranged by the intellectual disciple, the son of his brother.
Yeah. So what he's saying, Duryodhana looked at the military formation of the Pandavas. He was like surprised. He didn't expect that Pandavas would be so strongly formed. Yeah. So he goes to his teacher and speaks this. Who is he? Who is the teacher of Drona? Yeah. Atra Sura Maheshwasa Bhimarjuna Samayudhi Yudhano Viratascha Drupadascha Maharata. Close to your mouth. Yeah.
Here in this army are many heroic women equal in fighting to Bhima and Arjuna. Great fighter like Duryodhana
Virata and Drupada. Hmm. So he's just talking about various people, he's just estimating the strength of both armies on his side as well as the other side. Drishtaketus Cheki Tana Kasirajascha Viryavan Purojit Kunti Bhojascha Saibhyascha Narapungava. Please read.
There are also great heroic, powerful fighters like
Drishtaketu,
Drishtaketu, Chikitana, Kashiraja, Purujita,
Kunti Bhoja,
Kunti Bhoja, and Saidya.
Yudhamanyuscha Vikranta Uttamaujascha Viryavan Saubhadro Draupadeyascha Sarvaeva Maharata.
Ram Bhai Bane, the very powerful Arjuna, son of Subhadra and sons of Draupadi, all his warriors and their charioteers.
Asmakam tu visishtaye Tannibodat Vichottama Nayakam Sainyasya Sanyartham Tan Bravimite.
Who are especially qualified to lead my military force.
Yeah. Bhavan Bhimascha Karnascha Kripascha Samitim Jaya Ashwadhama Vikarnascha Somadantis Tataivacha.
There are personalities like Vishnu, Karna, Krupa, Ashwatthama, Purna, and Raswana, Sundara, called
Bhurishrava.
who are always in relationship.
Anyecha Bhavasura Madarte Chakva Jivita Nana Sastra Praharana Sarve Yuddha Visharada.
There are many other heroes who are prepared to lay down their lives for my sake. All of them are well equipped with different kinds of weapons, and all are experienced in military science.
Paryaptam tad asmakam balam bhishmabhirakshitam paryaptam tva idam etesham balam bhimabhirakshitam. Yeah. He was looking at all these people who are assembled. He spoke about first Pandavas and then his own side. In a way, it appeared like he's trying to boost his party, especially Dronacharya. But sometimes, when sometimes people speak, whether we don't know whether they're boosting their own morale or it's for the others. So it appears from the, he's trying to boost himself that we are also strong. Yeah. Ayaneshu cha sarveshu yatha bhagam avastita Bhishmam eva virakshantu bhavanta sarva eva hi.
All of you must now attend to respective strategic points of entry into the phalanx of the army.
Tasya sanjayana harsham गुरुवृद्धा पितामता सिंहनादं विना चोच्चये शङ्खं दद्मौ प्रतापवान्
Vishnu of the great dynasty, the grandfather of the fighters, grew his fortune very loudly, making a sound like a note man, giving
Yeah, so Bhishma started making sound. Tata sankascha bheryascha panavanaka gomuka sahasaivabhya anyanta sasabdhastu mulo bhava.
And the conch shells, drums, bugles, trumpets, the horns were all suddenly sounded. The combined sound was tremendous.
It's a uproarious sound. Tata svetarya hayaryukte mahati shandane stitau madhava pandavaschaiva divya shankau pradadmatau.
On the other side, Lord Krishna, stationed on a great chariot drawn by white horses, sounded with drums and whistles.
Panchajanyam hrishikesho devadattam dhananjaya amram dadmam mahashankham bhimakarma vrikodara.
Lord Krishna blew his conch shell or Panchajanya, Arjuna blew his Devadatta and Bhima. The Varahash people and Patharana of Arjuna blew his conch shell for
Yeah. So when these conch shells blow, hearts get terrored for the Kauravas. Let's see. Ananta Vijayam Raja, Kunti Putro Yudhishthira, Akula Sahadevascha, Sughosha Mani Pushpakau, Kashyascha Parameshwasa, Shikhandi Cha Maharata, Trishtajumno Viratascha, Satyakischa Paranjita, Drupado Draupadeyascha, Sarvasha Prithvite Pate, Sobhadrascha Mahabahu, Shankhan Dadham Prathak Prathak.
King Yudhishthir, the son of Kunti, blew his conch shell. The Ananta Vijaya and Nakula and Sahadev blew the Suhosa and Manishka. The great archer of King of Kashi, the great fighter Chikanji, Vishnu, Virat, and unconquerable Satyaki, Drumal, the sons of Draupadi and the other kings. Okay, such as the mighty Ram, son of Subhadra, all blew their respective conches.
So everyone blew their respective conches. Saghosha Dharta Rashtrana Hridayani Vyadharayat Nabhascha Prithvim Chaiva Tumulo Bhayanudayana.
The blowing of these different conches became uproarious, vibrating both in the sky and on earth, and shattered the hearts of the sons of Prakash.
Just the sound shattered. Atavyavastitam drishtva Dhartarashtran kapidvaja प्रवृत्रे शास्त्र संपाते धनुर्उद्यम्य पांडवा ऋषिकेशं तदा वाक्यम् इदम् आह महीपते.
That time of Arjuna, son of Pandu, sitting in the chariot wearing the flag, marked with Hanuman, took up his bow and prepared to shoot his arrows. O king, after looking at the son of Rashtra, drawn in the military array, Arjuna then spoke up to Lord Krishna these words.
अर्जुन उवाच सेनयोरुभयोर्मध्ये रथं स्थापयामीच्युत यावत् एतान् निरीक्ष्येऽहं युद्धकामान् अवस्थितान् कैर्मया सह योद्धाव्यम् अस्मिन् समुद्यमे.
Arjuna said, O infallible one, please form my chariot between the two armies, so that I may see those present here who desire to fight with whom I must contend in this great travel tournament.
Yeah. So you want to see everybody. Yotsyamanam aveksheham ya etetra samagata dhartarashtrasya dhurbhejur युद्धे प्रिया चिकीर्षवा. संजय उवाच एवं भुक्तो ऋषिकेशे गूढाकेशेन भारत सेनयोरुभयोर्मध्ये स्थापयित्वा रथोत्तमम्.
Lord Krishna knew of the fine chariot in the midst of the armies.
भीष्म द्रोणा प्रमुखाता सर्वेषां च महीक्षिताम् वाचा पार्थ पास्यैतान् समवेतान् कुरूनिति. In the presence of Bhishma, Drona, and all the chieftains of the world, the Lord said, just behold, Partha, all the Kurus assembled here. So in the process, Lord Krishna would be smiling. He knows what's coming. because Arjuna, because Lord knows everything. He would be smiling and looking at Arjuna. Now look at everyone. So until now, you see, the whole, it's like rising confidence of Pandavas, when they are blowing the conches and everything was, but suddenly the situation changes. It's like a climax in the movie, right? Suddenly the mood of Arjuna changes. Tatra pashya sthitan partha pitrin ata pitamaha acharya matulam bhartrin putran pautran sakhim stata swashuran suhridaschaiva senayor ubhayorapi. Yeah, it just blows his head. Tan samikshasa kaunteya sarvan bandhun avasthitan कृपया पर्याविष्टो सिद्धान् इदम् अब्रवीत्.
Arjuna saw all the different ways of friends and relatives. He became overwhelmed with compassion and strength.
Wow, okay. He became overwhelmed with compassion. So sudden mood change happened. Situation changed his opinion. Arjuna uvacha dristvemam swajanam Krishna yutsam sampastitam siddhanti mama gatrani mukhamcha parishushati. Yeah, I'm going to start again. Now he started having some physical symptoms. His body started showing symptoms of anxiety, and stress. Vepatuscha sarire me romaharshascha jayate gandivam shamaste hastat samsate hastat shakchaiva paridhayate.
My whole body is trembling. My head is running on him. My animals.
Started having physical symptoms. Nachasaknomi avastatum Brahmativa chame mana nimittani cha pashyami viparitani keshava.
I am now unable to stand here any longer. I am forgetting myself and my mind is moving. I see only causes of misfortune. O Krishna, pillar of the sacred beings.
Signs of misfortune means if I fight and win, looks misfortunate. If I lose and die, that also seems misfortune for him. So it's like lose-lose situation for Arjuna as he considers the situation to be. Nachasreyo nupasyami hatva swajanam ahave nakangshe vijayam Krishna nacharajyam sukhani cha.
I do not see how any good can come from killing my own children in this battle. Nor can my will Krishna desire any subsequent victory, kingdom or heaven.
If I kill my own relatives, how is that good? That is a valid question, right? Yeah. Kim no rajyena govinda kim bhogair jivitena va yesham ardhe kangshitam no rajyam bhoga sukhani cha taime vastita yuddhe pranam tyaktva dhanani cha acharya pitara putras tathaiva cha pitamaha matula swasura pautra shala sambandhinasya tata etana hantum ichchami natobi madhusudana apitrailokya राज्यस्य हेतु किं नो मही कृते निहत्या धार्तराष्ट्रं न का प्रीति स्यात् जनार्दन.
What avails to us kingdom, happiness, or even life itself, when all of those for whom we may desire them are now arrayed on this battlefield? Mansura, when teachers, fathers, sons, grandfathers, maternal uncles, father-in-law, grandsons, brothers-in-law, and other relatives are ready to give up their lives and properties and are standing before me, why should I wish it to them? Even though they might otherwise kill me, the maintainer of all living entities, I'm not prepared to fight with them, even in exchange for 3 words, let alone this earth. What pleasure to be derived from the killing the sons of Dhritarashtra.
So this shows the compassionate heart of Arjuna. Being a devotee, he is naturally compassionate. Papam eva shrayedasman atvaitan atatayina tasman narha vayam hantum धातराष्ट्रान् सबन्धवान् स्वजनं हि कथं हत्वा सुखिना श्याममाधव.
It will lower from us if we slay such aggressors. Therefore, it's not proper for us to kill the sons of Dhritarashtra and our friends. What should we give, O Krishna, husband of the goddess of fortune? And how could we be happy by killing our own kids?
यद्यपि एते न पश्यन्ति लोभोपहत चेतसा कुलक्षया कृतं दोषं मित्रद्रोहे च पातकाम् कथं न ज्ञेयम् अस्माभिः पापात् अस्मान् निवर्तितुम् कुलक्षया कृतं दोषं प्रपश्याद्भिर्जनार्दन.
O Janardana, although these men, their hearts overtaken by greed, see no fault in killing one's family or quarreling with friends, why should we, who see the crime and destroying of family, engage in these acts of sin?
कुलक्षया प्रणश्यन्ति कुलधर्मा सनातनः धर्मे नष्टे कुलं कृत्स्नम् अधर्मो विभिवञ्च्युता.
The destruction of that intensity, the total family recently punished, and thus the rest of the family becomes involved in religion.
अधर्माभिभवात् कृष्ण प्रदिशन्ति कुलस्त्रिया स्त्रीषु दुष्टासु वर्णेषु जयते वर्णशङ्कर.
The religion is prominent in the hand of Krishna. The women of the family can form of degradation of womanhood, co-descendants of Rishi, comes unwanted against.
Yeah. So he's just looking forward, after this whole war is over, when people are dead on both sides, women will be left with unprotected. So he was concerned that there will be unwanted progeny and all. If women get, Shankaro Narakayaiva कुलज्ञानं कुलस्य च पतन्ति पितरो ह्येषां लुप्तपिण्डोदकक्रिया
And this is on one of observations written of this heavy study of both the family and the post spiritual and tradition. Ancestors successful of families were down because organizers were offering food and water at various times.
दोषैर् एते कुलज्ञानं वर्णशङ्करकारकै उत्साज्यन्ते जातिधर्म कुलधर्माश्च शाश्वता
Of those who destroy the family tradition and thus the guys who see them abundance to them. All kinds of community projects and family welfare are the best.
उत्सन्न कुलधर्माणां मनुष्याणां जनार्दन नरके नियतं वासो भवतीति अनुशुश्रुमा
Krishna, maintainer of the people, I have heard by disciplines such as those whose family traditions were destroyed with always in them.
Yeah. So he is giving various reasons from Dharma Shastras. These are not, just his own concoctions, ideas. Whatever he is speaking as reasons why he should not fight are all based on Dharma Shastras. Okay? But again, sometimes these Dharma Shastras are conflicting, and we have to, like Manu Samhita, and Manu Samhita teaches on how to conduct life in this world. So you have to protect your family members. That is a, that's a saying in that. So at a physical level, he was looking at all these aspects, Dharma Shastras, right? And he's not able to come to a good conclusion with that. So he need to raise his purpose a little higher. Aho bata mahat papam kartum yavasita vyayam yadrajya sukhalodhena hantum swajanamu ujjata.
Alas, how strange it is that we are preparing to commit greatly sinful acts. Driven by the desire to enjoy royal happiness, we are intent on making our own instrument.
So he added Krishna along with him. we are. No, no, he was clear that it's all a sin. Yadimam apratikaram sastram sastrapanaya dhatarashtra rane hanyos tanme kshema taram bhavet. He is ready to be killed. Sanjaya uvacha evam uktvarjuna sankhe rathopastha upavisha srijya sasaram chapam sokasambigna manasa.
Sanjaya said, Arjuna, having thus spoken on the battlefield, cast aside his bow and arrows and sat down on the chariot, his mind overwhelmed with grief.
Yeah. So Sanjay, speaking about what is happening in the battlefield, so he gave several reasons, but he is indecisive. End of the chapter is he's indecisive. So it will continue further, he'll give further reasons and then surrender to Krishna. Because if you are indecisive forever, you need some guidance. So he realizes, now I need some guidance. So we are in our life as well, sometimes we'll be confused about what is right. We may have some plans. We go with some plans to do something, right? And then our plans get baffled looking at the situations. Then, instead of focusing on the plan, we should focus on what is right. What is the purpose I am here? If we focus on the purpose, we may get some clarity. If we are not able to find the purpose, then we have to take guidance. So that is what the entire summary of first chapter is. Right? Is that clear? Any questions so far on what we discussed?
Because you are giving the analogy of the eggshell breaking in the world of protection. I think the question, how is that related to Arjuna wanting to come out?
Okay. So initially, the whole reason for the battle of Kurukshetra. So the Prabhu is asking the question. I gave the example of shell breaking. How is that related to Bhagavad Gita? So the reason for giving the shell breaking example is sometimes we may have some purpose in mind when we begin certain activity, but the purpose could need to sometimes evolve beyond what exists as of today. We may have certain plan and certain goal in life, but the goal sometimes will appear boggling. Sometimes, for example, many people, as they start their life, they want to educate themselves and then, find a partner and then grow the children, grow the family. Many people in mid 40s, they will have a midlife crisis. You heard about it, midlife crisis? Because they lose the purpose. Why am I here? Is it just life is all about just, eating in the morning and, sleeping in the night, taking care of family? Is that all to it? They question the purpose. Why I'm here? So sometimes purpose has to evolve. For Arjuna, so the reason the people have assembled in this battlefield is originally the kingdom belongs to Pandavas. But unfortunately, the father dies, and his father's elder brother, who is a blind man, Dhritarashtra, he was given the kingdom temporarily until the Pandavas grew. But the sons of Dhritarashtra would want to take the kingdom completely to themselves. They don't want to give back to Pandavas. Originally, they have to give back to Pandavas. Understanding the mood of Pandavas, let me just complete and then. So, understanding the mood of Kauravas, Pandavas proposed that, okay, let's divide the whole kingdom into equal parts by all. Because we're all Kshatriyas, let's rule the kingdom together. But to which Duryodhana claims, no, now my father is the ruler, so I will be the next king. He wanted to be the sole king. So the fight became inevitable. Because for Kshatriyas, that is the only thing they have to do. And he's not only usurping the kingdom, he's also not even giving any, even as a sub-king, he's not even giving the chance to Pandavas. He says, I will not give the land enough that fits in the eye of the needle. He will say like that at one point. So you have to get out of my kingdom. Where will they live? Pandavas are also part of the kingdom. He says, you have to get out of my kingdom. So there were many attempts to stop the battle. Before this, this is in the sixth parva of Mahabharata. So before this, there are many attempts. In fact, Lord Krishna himself goes as a messenger, peace messenger, to stop the battle. Even then, it would not happen. Even God could not bring them to, So sometimes God may desire, but human will is so strong, it can go against God's will. So that's what we know. So that's what happens. And then war happened. War happened with the purpose of what? To establish dharma and give the kingdom back to Pandavas. That was the original purpose. But that purpose was not sufficient for Arjuna. Getting back the kingdom is not appealing. He feels so many people are dying. My own kinsmen, my own brothers, sisters. I don't want to see my, sister-in-laws, becoming widows like this in this whole battle. I don't want to kill my teachers. Drona, my forefather, my, grandfather, Bhishma is there. I don't want to kill him. So the purpose of winning the battle became tasteless for him. It's not appealing to Arjuna. So his purpose now need to evolve beyond that. So that is what you may start with one purpose. So that was initially, the shell is like, winning the battle, but that's not appealing to him. So he has to evolve beyond that at this point in time. So that's the understanding. Any other questions? Is it all clear? Or anything? Nothing is clear. Yeah. Oh, you have a question.
What's the argument that Bhagavad had is that because they are son of the elders? Is it just the fact that
Their father is immediate king. Yeah.
just the he is the current king?
So that was the reasoning they gave, but doesn't work like that actually. Because he is an incapable person. And originally when he was put into place, it was, the people assembled that discussed that this is a temporary arrangement until the Pandavas become kings.
Said that in the plan you started section.
Situation, yeah.
Yeah, and then you said, apart from this, you said we should not focus on plan but purpose.
Hmm.
So the intention in our plan and the purpose. How
Okay, it's confusing a little bit. So we whenever we start an activity, we have a plan, right? The plan is because there is an intention. You have certain, you want to teach something, then that is your intention. But then you come here, suppose none of you understand English. The situation is such that nobody understands English, for example, right? I went to say a country like China, and my intention is to teach. That's my plan. The plan is that my plan is to teach. But then the situation is that nobody understands English. Then I have to rethink the plan. The focus should not be on my plan to teach. It should evolve to understand I have to give some teachings. Now I have to arrange somebody who can speak in Chinese or translate in Chinese, right? So now I have to focus on the purpose. Plan is, you cannot stop with the plan. You have to understand whether the plan meets the purpose properly. Behind the plan, there should be a clear purpose. So that's what that is.
the intention part is
Intention is like your desire.
and like what we are planning to do.
Mhm. Yes.
Purpose is like a big thing, like a whole.
Yeah.
As a part of whole, what we should.
Correct. Yeah. Something like that.
Is purpose the why and plan the what we do.
Yeah. Plan is what and purpose is why. Correct.
So
Yeah.
the why
We just start with,
from
yeah. Yeah.
and there are multiple whats that can be done to do the same why. So don't stick to one what. Like, you have to see the
Why should determine your what. Yeah.
And also has why, no? Means intention is why only.
Intention is why, but you start with some intention, but you have to evolve. Sometimes you may start with a plan, but the plan seems to have got baffled because of the situation. You started with a plan, but the plan got like disrupted by the situation. Then should I go stick to my plan? Then it's it's very, hardliner, right? You are just going with your plan, irrespective. If I still teach to the Chinese in English, it doesn't help. Looking at the situation, I have to understand my plan is not sufficient. So I have to rethink about the purpose why I'm here. My real goal is to teach something to help people. So now I have to reevaluate my plan. So that reevaluation is understanding my why here. So that is the purpose. So purpose is a completely different aspect. So you start with a plan, with an intention, but then you look at the situation, you may have to change your plan. And then when you have to change your plan, you have to really question your purpose. Then you will understand whether what you are doing is right.
Say that sometimes we have a long-term goal, 50 years or what I want to do in my life, and then we have short goals for that, and then short goals are not working out. Then I go into our goal of life. We achieve this.
Yeah, sometimes it says, no? Yeah, look at the big picture. Sometimes we lose in the situation. You go deep and then you get lost. Why am I here? What am I doing? And then we have to go like 3,000 feet, and then things become a little more clear, right? So that's the principle here, right? So when you go through a bird view, you will see situation in a better way. So sometimes we have to come out of the shell and see the big picture, and then see whether your plans and are correct, or you have to mold yourself. So time and again we have to see all our activities, whether it is aligned to my life's long-term goals or not. Yeah, good questions. Anything else? I think that's the key lesson. We have to not just go with our just plans. We have to evolve sometimes to better understand our situation and come up with better plans for our life. Any other questions? Okay, so we'll end the session then. Thank you all for joining. I hope you're loving the Bhagavad Gita discussions. And this is just the beginning. Next week session is going to be intense. It's going to be more focused on philosophy. So every week you will be just learning and learning. It's a great journey. Bhagavad Gita is such a enjoyable journey of learning. Okay, so we'll have prasadam. Huh?
It's like Sanskrit sloka in English. How to learn this?
How to learn?
Because sometimes.
Oh yeah, actually, yeah. I can share a few things. So actually in the beginning of Bhagavad Gita, it's all mentioned. So for example, this is A, right? This is Dirgam. Dirgam means Rajya. So whenever you see an A like that, you should understand this is Ana, right? Papa. Oh yeah, so this is all mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita book. I can share the page number. It should be there in this online book. I will check and share. Punctuations at the end, I think, at the end. Yeah. It should be there. So we already completed chapter 1. Congratulations. So I request everybody to read verses every day through this week. Few verses, like 10 verses per day. So that way, you are with the flow of Bhagavad Gita through the week. Okay? Yeah. Thank you all very much. Yeah, we should chant one round. Yeah? Or is it late? Yeah, let's chant one round. 5 minutes it takes. 6 minutes.